Hello YouTubes, this is Grimweird coming back at you with more Enigmatica 2 Expert Mod Pack playthrough action for Minecraft 1.12.2. This episode we're going to continue on with lots of little tasks that, little things that I've always wanted to do through this playthrough but never gotten around to. I'm slowly working on some of this stuff here. One of the things I ran into though was that I think going into the end game, I really need to beef up my Applied Energistics ME system, and I need to be able to craft the processors like these guys. I ran out of all of these guys, and I've just been sort of mass producing them in huge batches and using them that way. But I ran out of them again, and rather than mass producing them, I really felt I should figure out how to automate those, and more importantly, the printed circuits that require the presses here in the Inscriber. So fortunately, this mod pack has AE2 stuff, which has the Advanced Inscriber, which allows you to do things like lock the press in place. It also will accept stacks as opposed to a single thing at a time. So there's some nice benefits there. And so what I did was I decided to, rather than try some very complicated method, which can be a bit buggy from what I hear about trying to juggle these in and out with automation, I just decided to go ahead and make 5 of them. So if we look here, I've got basically what I've got going on is a little circle of 4 advanced inscribers along the bottom of this column with a you can't see it, but I've got an energy acceptor, so basically an energy acceptor like this, and a power point, a flux point down at the bottom or in the middle here. So one power acceptor is in the center of all these guys. And if we take a look, basically I've just got a different calculator or a different inscriber press locked into each one. So this is the engineering, and this is calculation, and of course logic and silicon. And then I've got a 5th one up here, which is open, which can make all of the finished products, the actual processors. So that can make these guys, since it doesn't need to juggle around one of those inscriber press doohickeys. So another thing I'm playing around with is, you can see I'm pulling up my Yeta wrench, and I've got facades here. I was trying to, because this is sort of just an ugly little beast here, so I was going to try and pretty it up a little, and it's still going to be ugly. I wasn't really planning on trying, when I started this, I was just trying to experiment with getting it to work, and now that it is sort of working, I'm reluctant to tear it down when I can try and dress it up. I've been meaning to experiment with the Ender IO facades anyway. I like the fact that you can click through them, so it's like it looks solid, get the wrench, and I can actually click on the stuff in there. So that's very nice. So that's sort of a nice system. The last machine I have in here is the crystal growth chamber from AE2 stuff. And I knew that you could throw crystal seeds in there and get it to grow those seeds for you. But I actually just realized that you could use it to automate Fluix crystals too. So that was sort of a big realization. I sort of didn't catch that. So this recipe here, where you throw a charged Certus quartz and another quartz and a redstone into water and get out Fluix crystals. I knew it could do this thing where you take the seeds and you grow those seeds through this Fluix seeds into pure Fluix crystals, but it didn't dawn on me that it could also make base Fluix crystals also. So if we take a look at what I've got going on here, I've got a ME interface there. Can I click through to that? Ooh, I can. So I've got one here where I say, you know, you can create a pure Certus quartz crystal with a Certus quartz seed. You can do that for the Fluix and the nether quartz as well. And I've got the 2 Fluix crystals. Can be done with charged Certus quartz, a nether quartz, and a redstone. So that is beautiful. So now instead of throwing stuff in a puddle of water, if I want to make more Fluix crystals, I can just order some up, hit start, and away it goes. Boom. So that is super nice. Same things with the pure ones. If I want more pure ones, I can just tell it I want some, and it'll tell me I'm missing Fluix seeds because I haven't taught that recipe yet. But you get the idea. Bottom line is, once I teach all the recipes, I'll be good to go there. So for the inscribers, what I'm doing is do this without the facades in the way. So the key thing here is to try and minimize, for me, was to minimize the channels. So you can see that I've got all of this bottom on the top bottom 2 levels. All of this is just one channel for the smart cable, which is this ME interface, which makes all 4 of the base ones. So what that does is that when I order up one of those base guys, it throws, let's say I order up some printed engineering circuits, which are made out of diamonds. It throws diamonds into the I'm clicking on it with the wrench and it's freaking out a bit. I hope I didn't just break things. Oh, I flipped it. Alright, whatever. Go ahead and take these back off for a moment. It's easier to show you what I'm doing without them. So basically, take the facades off here, and I'll show you how this is wired. Then we'll hook it back up, and button up the things to make it look a little bit better. So basically, as I said, we come down to this chest with the ME interface. So when I order something, let's say I ordered the diamond one, it'll throw some diamonds in this chest. You can see I'm extracting in all 4 directions with this chest, but only one of those directions is whitelisted for, actually only one of these Inscribers, Advanced Inscribers, it was whitelisted to accept the diamonds. And, as you might imagine, it's the one with the correct, it's the last one we look at. It's the one with the correct inscriber press. So this is the only one that will accept diamonds when the ME interface throws them in these chests, and it's the one that has the correct engineering press. So the diamond comes into here, the diamond gets sucked out, the diamond goes down into here, and then this only accepts the finished printed engineering circuit. So I can't get my diamonds accidentally jumping over into this chest, which is my output chest. So diamond comes from the ME interface to the chest, to the tool, gets turned into the printed engineering circuit, goes to the output chest, and then gets extracted over here to this guy, which is hooked up to an import bus and goes back in to the system. And all the other ones are wired up similarly. So in other words, this is the only guy that will accept gold for the logic circuits. So if I dump gold into here and tell it that I want these gold guys, it'll dump gold in there, the gold will go into here, It'll be made into a logic circuit. That'll get exported to here, and then that will go up once again to this chest, which has the import bus on it, and then back into the ME system to complete the recipe. So that is basically it. So I'm pretty happy with this. It's a little ugly, that's why I was playing around with facades, but I managed to get all of this action done using only 4 channels, and only there are 2 ME interfaces here, one for the Advanced Inscriber that makes the finished products, one for the crystal growth chamber which makes crystals, and then one shared between all of the ones that make the preliminary inscribed processes, and then one import bus to get all of the stuff that isn't on an ME interface back into the system. So it's working pretty good. I like it. It's a little wasteful. You know, if you were early game with this stuff, you might cringe a little at making multiple advanced inscribers, but they weren't that expensive, I don't think. I've forgotten already. They were basically 2 of the diamond circuits. So 2 of the diamond circuits and 2 hoppers. So if you've got diamonds and iron, you're good to go. And this just makes it so you don't have to like try and put everything through one inscriber, but have to juggle around the damn presses here. So that works out fine. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Looks has a ways to go. So basically what I'm going to do for looks is just play around with facades a bit. Since I'm not really, this is my first major modded Minecraft effort. I'm still sort of figuring out how to hide cables and what the best ways to do things are. But the good news is I've, you can see that I'm pointing here. This is a cable facade. This is a cable facade. So I'm hiding my ME cables up in the ceiling and using facades to hide them. Now I'm playing around with facades for the Ender IO cables. And then we don't really need to ever touch this stuff. So I can just button it up with actual stuff like this. Because I don't really need to get in there ever again, I don't believe. So we can just sort of button everything up. And now it's a bit ugly, but at least it's a nice solid looking piece of wall here. And probably what I would do now that I know what I'm doing is when I'm starting a base from scratch, so my next playthrough, I would specifically set up probably something about like, a 5x5 pillar in the center of a room, and just hide all of this stuff. Or just put it in a wall, or, whatever. But yeah, so now we have all of that stuff automated, which is good, because that's been sort of dragging on me. And got to play around a bit with facades, so I dig it. Again, this is sort of just my tying off some loose ends on automation, sort of like this thing that I did a couple episodes ago. This thing really is going to help me out every time every time I get a recipe that calls for some of that stuff. And I forget what it was, but something I wanted to build here called for some of that stuff. And I of course cringed because I had to make it manually. But now we are good to go. So now we can make all of that Applied Energistics processors and circuit stuff automated. Very happy. So what else to do? I haven't checked on our reactor in a while, but let's see. We're still at 100%. 5825 is ideal, so we've come down a little bit there. But yeah, everything is fine there. We're up to 171 buckets of neutron fluid. Our fuel is still maxed. Fuel over here is maxed. Heavy water that makes the fuel is maxed. So we are meeting production needs there. Resonant ender for cooling is maxed. And resonant ender is maxed, everything is maxed. So we're meeting our production quantities we need for cooling. So yeah, everything is 5 by 5. And we're still at 3.629 million RF per tick. So that's a rousing success. So, now what? I guess, so this was just sort of a little fun side project that I've been meaning to do something like that for a while. And because it was really bugging me that those were so manual. So now I guess I'm going to get back to working on these things, a variety of things and chores and just improvements to our situation. I do want to probably go through and add a bunch of acceleration cards to these inscribers. They get much faster if you accelerate them, much faster. Let's see, how many of those do I have? So yeah, I'll make a bunch of those. Applied. Well, first I got to test it out by making a bunch of these. So calculation processors. Let's see if this thing actually works. I tested some of it, but not all of it. So I'm going to need, I don't know, let's call it 40 of those and see what it does. Yeah, it's going to make some of those as an intermediate step. So those will come in on our bottom floor here. And then once it has those back in the system, it will need to throw them back out and craft the final product. So let's see if it goes through. So far, so good. It ran through the material it had pretty quick, but I don't have acceleration cards in there yet. So this crafting is going pretty slow. But it is going. So this will be a good test for us because now we should be able to make, or not, let's see, how many of these do we need? We want to do 20. Oops, made a few extra, but that's all right. So let's see how that goes. Let's see, that one's got its thing, or it's 5 already. Doink, 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 doink. Let's turn this bad boy up to 11. So those are the 4 preliminary products. Oh, well, this guy's just slow, 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 so let's speed it up. Boom. You can see how it's going much faster now. Yeah, that's much better. Excellent. So now let's test it on a different one to see how it looks. So I'll take these out so we're starting from scratch. And let's do 20 of these. Go. Yes, it's popping right through them. Done. I like it. So there, we finally automated that crap. That makes me happy because I was a little baffled when I first started this and wanted to do this using the actual inscriber. This guy, the one that comes just with the Applied Energistics, this one is a pain because you've got to pipe each individual piece into a different thing. So it's like when you're looking at it this way, it's like you got to pipe this one thing in through the top and one thing in through the bottom and one thing in through the back, and you got to pipe things out through the other side. So everything is very sided, and it only accepts one at a time. Whereas these ones, advanced ones from AE2 stuff, will actually accept stacks. And so all in all, this is all much better. All right, so that is done. That's enough about that. So I'm going to get back to doing more crafting and more little projects like this, and I will be back when I have something more to report. And as a follow-up to the whole automating the processors from Applied Energistics thing, I quickly remembered what I needed it for. So I wanted to make the Advanced Carpenter, because a lot of things that we're going to be building, it appears, will go through the Carpenter, like I think it was Wyvern cores and things like that. So I wanted to go ahead and make the Modular Machinery fast, neat, nifty version of the Carpenter, because getting things through that slow Carpenter can be a pain in the butt, and I didn't want to make a whole bank of them. So, but to make the Advanced Carpenter, we need a 64K ME fluid storage component. So that's a whole chain of storage there. So we are going to do this. Now that I have that automated, I can make that kind of stuff, and everything should be okay. So it's that response right there is why you spend time setting up automation. Sure, it is, sometimes I waste an hour setting up some automation, but that would have taken me quite a bit of time to do manually. And it's just so much simpler to go, oh hey, I need a 64K whatchamajigger, and boom, hit a button and it does it for you. And that wasn't even that complex of a thing, but it's really nice to have that done. So what else do I need for this? I need one more machine casing. And for that I need more of this alloy, which means I need more pulsating crystals. Alright, so I'm going to set up a few more automations now that we're moving into some more of this stuff. I am running real close to capacity on my molecular assemblers. I have some more in the bank, but I haven't set them up yet. But yeah, we're down to just this little corner of our world here. But so that's going to be another little project that I have to get into over the next couple days. But I will be back in a moment. Okay, so we are back, and we have expanded and tidied up our AE ME matter energy system for inventory. One of the things I stupidly did in my newbiness was for this side of my controller, I came out and went up, which means I would have had crosstalk with this side if I ever used it. So I finally buckled down and actually just moved it over so that the one that went up actually came out the top, and that freed this side up to come over here and put in another cube of ME interfaces and molecular assemblers. So we now have for our crafting table type recipes, we now have a bunch more space to add more stuff, and as you can see, I've already added a bunch of stuff. The other thing I did was, now that we have the ability to, now that we've sort of automated crystals and automated all of the Applied Energistics ME circuits and stuff that goes through the Inscriber, that makes automating the ME stuff much easier. So I went ahead and automated CPUs and crafting storage and things like that, and vastly expanded my CPUs. I had plenty of material. It was just a big slog to try and do it all, so I hadn't done it all yet. But that extra bit of automation gave me the impetus I needed to start that off. And so we've now got a much more reasonable, like if I come here, now I've got a 262 capacitor, 262,000 bytes, and then another 262,000 bytes, and then a 65,000 bytes for my three processors. So that's a huge upgrade in my processing power, which is going to be necessary as I'm getting into these late game ones where it's like we're making stuff that has dozens of sub-combines and sub-components that need to be made. So that's good. Processing expanded, and also autocrafting capacity expanded. So that is excellent, and that allowed me to get a better handle on some of the other stuff, which was crafting up the modular machines. We've already got the advanced metallurgic fabricator, and now we're going to make a second one of these machines for modular machines. We're going to be making the Advanced Carpenter that replaces the forestry carpenter, and should, I assume, be much faster. So I'm going to put it here. That's the base of it. We got the base down. Now what do we do? So now I got to put down fluid input, energy input, and item input along the back. So that was fluid, energy, and item. Better double check that. Fluid, energy, and input, or and item. Fluid, energy, item. Okay, good to go. So doink, doink, doink. And then next we've got glass in the corners. Alright, done. And we've got what's that? Oh, the multi-tank. And then what? Just an empty spot there? That seems a little weird. Huh. Alright. So the multi-tank in the middle. We got to close off those things before I put the gelid cryothium in. We got to close off the sides. So what was that? That was item output on the left and gearbox on the right. Item output left, gearbox right. And on the front, I assume it's the controller. No. Yes, machine controller. Okay. Alright, so now we can put in our cryotheum. I haven't checked out how insane Zombie Steve is for a while. Oh, he's still pretty insane. That's not going anywhere. Fortunately, I think I might have been bugged or something because for a long while, I had a lot of the effects of being insane. And I think it was overdoing it to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need source blocks, I think, in every. Gosh darn it. I think we needed source blocks in everything except that one. And I think we've got that now. We got a source block there. Yes. 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 All right. It's sometimes hard to tell when you have open corners like that because they dip down weird. So I just wanted to double check before we put the roof on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got our 7. This is apparently a blank spot. So now if we go up a level, we want a processor and the coprocessors. But I better probably put in the edges first. So that's going to be casings, except for a couple vents in the middle. So vent, vent, and casing. Oh, gosh darn it. Casing, casing, casing. Casing, 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 casing. All right, and then processor. And where are my coprocessors? Did I not pull them out of the ME system? Okay, there's those. And I think we lost a vent. Get that back out. That goes in the roof. All right, and then the vent goes in the middle. And we button her up. Ay, ay, ay. And then we put the blueprint in here. I think we're in business. It's sort of hard to tell sometimes with these machines. Okay, so blueprint found, structure found. And this is saying blueprint found, structure found, none. So it seems to be missing something. Fantastic. So, guess we gotta walk through this bad boy and see what we missed. So the outside all looks good. The bottom was not hard, so I'm pretty sure that's right. This sort of worries me that there's an empty spot here. I don't know what's supposed to be in there. Or if it's really supposed to be an empty spot. All right, so I'm going to go Google this and make sure that things seem normal. And I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back in Structure Found Advanced Carpenter. I somehow missed a bucket of gelid cryothium. So the empty spot was still empty, but I somehow missed another spot. That's what I get for not counting it out and seeing how much was in my tank to start, and then making sure I was 7 less when I was done. That's what I should have done. That's what I did the second time, and we have an Advanced Carpenter. So excellent. Now I feel like I want to make something in it real quick, but I'm not exactly sure what I want to make. Let's see. There's something I needed for something. So we'll be making Wyvern energy cores in there. We'll be making Wyvern cores in there. But we don't have that. We're not ready to do that yet. There was something else. There was something I wanted to do now that I was going to make in there. But I forget what. Oh, I guess I was going to make these. But I need to figure out what the primal mana is and where to get it. So that is IC2 coolant, Osgold glass, and Mirian. Alright. So yeah, I will be using this soon to do some of this. We got to upgrade our extended crafting, elite crafting table to the ultimate crafting table. So I'll use it on a few things there. And I think there was something else I was going to use it on, but it's just good to have it out of the way. So that is good to go, and we will I threw some power on it. I'll probably just bring tanks over here as I need them, and we'll see if I need to run ME to it. This bad boy for the making titanium, the Advanced Metallurgic Fabricator. I just made a whole crap ton of titanium, and we haven't needed to come back since. In fact, I cannibalized some of my setup here. So we'll need to reset that up when we need to make more. But there, we did a thing. That was another thing that was on my list. So we can now axe that. And for now, we can axe that. I'm not going to make the tier 6 solar array controller yet. I'm not going to work on dimension stuff. This I'd like to do. And basically the 3 things that look hard here are these cores. So I've got this stuff, except for lutecrite. How do I make lutecrite again? Yeah, the block is craftable. I know that. This is the one we were actually. This is the first thing I'll actually probably use the Advanced Carpenter for. And we need liquid DNA in there, but that's not too hard. I just got to make a DNA extractor. Have I made one of those yet? I can't remember. I knew I was going to need one, so I thought about it. But that's pretty simple, I think. We'll need to make some of that as well. Alright, well, once we have these 2 crafting tables out of the way, I think we'll be in much better shape. But let's take a look at advanced rocketry. I've been putting that off and putting that off, mostly because I haven't really needed anything from it. I haven't needed to go to any other planets or do any other stuff, but we're finally now getting to a point where some of these recipes that we want to do in Draconic Revolution, whatever it is, I don't remember. This guy. Some of these actually require stuff be made in advanced rocketry tools, so we are going to need to get into it. So we've got titanium, we've got coils and motors, so we just need to start busting out this kind of stuff. And that's one of the reasons I had to work on my AE system, my ME system from AE, because this stuff looks pretty complicated, so I'm going to need to set up a lot of autocrafting so I don't go insane. But anyway, probably going to call it a episode here. Let me pause the camera and see what kind of runtime we're at. Yeah, so let's call it an episode. We accomplished quite a few things. Got noticeable upgrades to our ME system. That's going to help us a lot as we transition into more and more complicated recipes. We got the Advanced Carpenter done. Yeah, so we're making progress here. And I don't think I need the Fusion Crafting Core or the Ultimate Crafting Table just quite yet. So I'm going to plinker along on those in the background as we move into advanced rocketry. So I'm just going to start working on these darn machines. I'm just going to pick one and start loading up all the stuff. So we need that. And we're going to need more of those. And glass we got. Some sort of fancy copper coil. I'm going to put it over there because we'll probably use them on multiple machines, so it would be good to have it auto-crafting. An elite motor, yeah, see we're going to be using those in the motor, so may as well set up auto-crafting for it. Power input plug, we're going to want to hit that guy. Input hatch, and output hatch. Alright, so that gives us a little something, and we're going to need to mass produce some of these machine structures, which means I'm going to need to mass produce some of these signal cell frames. And right now, none of this is automated, so I got to figure out how to automate all of this. I'm doing a little bit better with Signalum because I've used Signalum enough that even though I'm not really caught up on the whole fluid situation, I just dedicated this magma crucible to redstone and just put a bunch of blocks in here. And then I just dedicated this fluid infuser to infusing redstone, and this fluid transposer to transposing redstone. So now this little bank of 3 machines here just does all that stuff. So this makes my Signalum. So it's not fully automated in that I have to come over here and make sure that I have lots of redstone in there, but it's better than nothing. Anyway, I'm going to call it an episode. Real progress made tonight, and we got a new toy, and we don't have to use the slow carpenter anymore, so that will be good. Normal item input, so this is where my input's going to be. There. We might expand this floor out a little bit just to give us some more room around these machines. Depends on how much secondary equipment we need around them to keep them fed and watered. But anyway, I will talk to you next time. Bye.